Thanksgiving's off. No one's coming, is all my mom wrote in a text. That was it. Later that same night, I got a notification. Someone had accidentally tagged me in a photo. It was from a family gathering. There it was, turkey on the table, champagne glasses clinking, a shiny banner hanging over the dining room, just family. I stared at that message again. Twice, maybe 3 times. The next morning, my brother messaged me out of nowhere, still paying for the family trip? No greeting. No context. I answered with one word, naturally. Then I started shutting everything down, canceled payments, froze the flights, locked out access. At 8 o'clock sharp, I heard a knock at the door. My parents. Let us in, they said. So I opened the door slowly, looked them in the eye, and said their own words back to them. Thanksgiving's off. No one's coming, just like my mom had written. No explanation followed. No attempt to soften the blow. Just that short, cold sentence, like it was supposed to erase years of family tradition. I sat with it for a while. Thought about the hotel I'd booked for them, the rental car in their name, and the pie I'd picked up from that overpriced place they like so much. Then I just kind of shrugged. Maybe they had canceled it. But that night, a notification popped up on my phone. I'd been tagged in a post, probably by accident, on my cousin's account. The caption said, "Grateful for real family." The picture underneath? A big dinner table set for 12. A full Thanksgiving spread, turkey, champagne, fancy gold-rimmed plates. And hanging over all of it was that same banner. Just family. I read the caption again. My name wasn't tagged. My chair wasn't there. But I recognized the house. It was my parents' place. They were all there. Eating. Laughing. Toasting. Without me. I didn't call. Didn't send a message. Just stared at the photo like it was a bad joke I wasn't in on. Then, at exactly 7:42 the next morning, my phone buzzed again. Still paying for the family trip? Same brother. No lead-in. No apology. Just the question like nothing had happened. I looked at the text for a long moment, then typed back one word, naturally. After that, I opened my laptop, put the flights on hold, canceled the Airbnb, paused the travel insurance, and removed their access from the shared account. The one I run top to bottom, though they still don't seem to get that. By 8 a.m., they were at my front door. My dad pounding like it was urgent. My mom calling my name over his shoulder, as if saying it louder would still mean something. I opened the door slowly. No yelling. No slamming. Just stood there and let them speak. They didn't even bother with a good lie. We thought it'd be easier without you. It was kind of last minute. You always make it weird. They tossed those excuses around like party confetti, hoping one would land. My mom called it a misunderstanding. My dad said I was getting emotional again. My brother stood behind them with his arms folded, silent, as usual. He never speaks up. He doesn't have to. He just watches everyone else do the cutting and shows up when it's time to reap the rewards. But here's the thing. They didn't know this wasn't the first time something like this happened. It was just the first time I actually saw it for what it was. That tagged photo? That wasn't some slip-up. That was just another patch in a quilt that's been suffocating me for years. I started mentally replaying all the moments I'd worked hard to forget. The birthday they missed, until I reminded them. That same year, my brother got a car. The time I paid off their back taxes and my mom told her bridge club, he's finally making himself useful. The anniversary party I funded start to finish, then overheard my aunt laugh, "Don't let the help sit up front." The wedding they never asked me to be in, but had no problem letting me bankroll. The house I helped them get with my name on the paperwork. The business software I custom built. The streaming services under my login. The tuition I covered, just until they get on their feet. They never actually saw me. I wasn't a person to them. I was a solution. A line of credit with arms and legs. I wasn't their son. Not really a brother. Just a service. Every time I gave, they grabbed more. Every time I stayed silent, they filled the gap with jokes, calling me soft, sensitive, too fragile. Saying I should be grateful they let me in the room at all. Once, my mom said, "We can always count on you." I used to think that meant she trusted me. Now I know better. It meant they were sure I wouldn't say no. Because I hadn't. Not once. Not when I was left out. Not when they joked at my expense. Not when they swapped me out for whoever was more useful or easier. But that banner, just family, that was the final blow. It didn't hint. It didn't suggest. It said it. They drew a line, and for the first time in my life, I believed them. So I didn't argue. Didn't send a long-winded message or try to explain myself. I just let the whole pattern roll out in my head like an old film reel, one scene after the next. And beneath it all, the same theme repeated. They didn't see me, just what I could give. So I made a choice. I wasn't going to give any more. Not out of spite. Not because I was angry. But because I finally understood the difference between helping someone and being taken advantage of. And as I sat in my living room, the sun just starting to rise, notifications buzzing like white noise around me, I smiled. Not because everything was okay, but because, for once, I wasn't trying to fix it. I sat down at my desk, screen lit up, coffee long cold. My heartbeat was calm, steady. I opened the spreadsheet I'd been looking at for days. A list of all the recurring charges they never talked about. Things they used without ever asking. Privileges they assumed belonged to them. Domain names. Streaming subscriptions. Cloud backups. Rental car accounts in their names. Insurance add-ons. All linked to me. My logins. My passwords. My two-factor codes. It was like I kept a whole toolbox in a garage they never even noticed, and now it was time to start locking the doors. First up, the shared credit card. They'd used it for groceries, vacations, even bought my daughter's Christmas presents with it, without ever asking. One click, pause autopay. Confirm. Done. Next, the airline rewards account. I suspended their authorized traveler status. No more perks. No more last-minute tickets. No more riding on my dime. Then came the hotel rewards program. Shut down the profiles under my mom's name. I'd earned those points for her, but now the account showed one message. Inactive due to policy violation. Policy violation. Unauthorized use. That was the next category. Fourth on the list, streaming subscriptions. Apple TV. Netflix. Spotify. I didn't shut them down completely, I just removed their profiles. Didn't delete anything. Just made their access vanish. Invisible. Like digital ghosts. Fifth, email forwarding. They'd been routing mail from my personal domain straight to their inboxes. I turned it off. No confirmation emails? That's unfortunate. Sixth, family account controls. I reset the parental settings. Created a brand new password. I didn't disable the account, they were just removed. If they wanted back in, they'd have to come through me. And this time, they'd need to ask. It was all done quietly. Deliberate. Precise. Like surgery. I started making calls. Good morning. This is John Reynolds, the account holder. I'd like to remove all authorized users from the card ending in 2345-6789-1123. Yes, all of them. Effective immediately. Thank you. 3 minutes later, the call was done. No back and forth. No hesitation. If they called the customer service line after that, they'd hear the same thing. Access revoked by cardholder request. I repeated the process. And again. By noon, the spreadsheet in front of me was glowing red. Rows of data changed from active to canceled, paused, suspended, revoked. Every access code locked. Every permission reset. VPN credentials? Revoked. The help button I'd left open for them 24/7? Now permanently offline. I ended the car insurance they were riding under my policy. Didn't cancel the whole thing, just took their names off. The lien? Gone. Their co-owner status? Deleted. If they tried to file a claim now, they'd need me on the phone. And I'd be pressing decline. I stopped paying for the tax service they used to run their business. It was theirs. They could find a new accountant. I told the firm, I'm withdrawing all financial support. Any final charges can be back-billed to them. The call ended in silence. I didn't fill it. Around 3 p.m., I sent each of them a document. 1-page PDFs. These are your recurring charges. They've now been suspended. Shared accounts, removed. If you need access again, you may send a request. I'll review it when I have time. No guilt. No explanations. Just plain facts. Screenshots. Receipts. Boundaries, clearly drawn. I didn't reply to their messages. No, I'm sorry. No, let me explain. Just that email. Sent once. I spent the rest of the afternoon doing a full review of my systems. Checked every lock, every file. My home server. My cloud backups. My bank statements. Every strange charge labeled family, holiday, gift, subscription, I flagged them all. Color-coded. Red for serious, orange for questionable, yellow for annoying but small. The petty ones? I deleted. The $19.99 watch party bundles. The $7.50 audiobook add-ons. The $5 cereal deliveries. But the real expenses, the ones that mattered. The 5-figure payments I'd made to cover business costs, tuition, medical bills. Those I didn't delete. I moved them. Reallocated every dollar. Opened a new savings account for my son's future. Each transfer labeled. Every cent accounted for. Line by line. Business software. Their company Q4 2024. Tuition, University of State, Spring 2025. Medical claim, Mom Smith, June 2025. Then I renamed the account titles. Nothing cryptic. Nothing hidden. So if they ever tried to say, we didn't know, well, they'd be looking straight at the proof. This wasn't revenge. It was recovery. Called my bank. Told them I wanted tighter controls. No one adds themselves to this account without my okay, I said. Security freeze. Transaction alerts. 2-factor authentication across the board. My finances were mine again. I reached out to my DNS registrar. Removed phone forwarding. Turned off email redirects. Revoked all domain delegations. No more of that, your site is still hosted on their server, nonsense. I even changed the emergency contact on my health insurance. I'd like my wife listed first, I told the rep. Update all permissions. By 6 p.m., every notification was silenced. Every move logged. Every right revoked. I sat back in my chair. Took a deep breath. The room felt quiet, but not empty. That's what mattered. There hadn't been a single fight. No shouting matches. No frantic messages sent in the heat of the moment. Every step I'd taken was calm. Documented. Unmistakable. There'd be no confusion later. No, I didn't know, or you never said. Everything I reclaimed either came back to me or was redirected with purpose. I wasn't doing it to shame them. I just wanted peace. And finally, I had it. The night rolled in. No big scene. No door pounding. No dramatic confrontations. Just the steady hum of my laptop powering down. The house settling into stillness. Maybe on their side, panic was starting to build. Because at 8:03 p.m., my phone buzzed with a text. From my mom. But we thought you'd understand. I didn't reply. Because by now, understanding wasn't the point. I didn't expect silence. I half expected screaming, guilt trips, tears. But instead, what came through was something colder. More manipulative. By midnight, my brother came first. A stream of messages, one after another. You can't do this. We'll go to the bank. Mom's having a panic attack. Stop ignoring us. Then the email started. From my dad. He forwarded his version of events to everyone. Siblings, cousins, aunts. John is overreacting. He's always been like this. Maybe your head's in the wrong place, son. That one hit different. My father, throwing me under the bus in front of the whole family. Eventually, I stopped checking who the messages were from. Around 2 a.m., the calls began. Not from them. From others. Aunt. Cousin. Even my girlfriend's mom. Frantic. He's spiraling. He's unstable. Did you hear what he did? I let the voicemails pile up. Didn't even listen. By the time the sun rose, the narrative had shifted completely. They'd rewritten the story, turned me into the villain. Nothing new, just more of the same. One email thread after another from people who'd happily benefited from my support. but vanished when I stopped offering it. He's emotionally unstable. He's punishing everyone. Can we get a family mediator involved? Funny. No one suggested a mediator during 8 straight years of being ignored. But now they were eager for one. I looked at all of it, the texts, the emails, the voicemails, and I thought, sure, bring in the mediator. They didn't expect calm. That afternoon, my brother just showed up, no warning. He stood by the front gate like a kid caught in a game gone wrong. "This is childish," he said. "Come outside. Let's talk." I watched him from the window. He looked smaller than I remembered. The masks were slipping. So, I opened the door. He stormed inside but didn't yell. Instead, he started quietly. "Mom's on edge. Dad and the others, they're confused," he said. Then paused, took a breath. "I'm begging you. Just tell us what happened." His voice was desperate and I was ready. For the first time, I stood tall. No shouting. No tears. Just words heavy as lead. "You forgot I existed until I paid for something." I told him how I'd slowly faded away, becoming just numbers and transactions to them. "You panicked when I stopped." He tried to interrupt, but I held up my hand. "Let me finish." I grabbed the printed PDF from my desk, laid it on the table, receipts, call logs, screenshots. "Here are the facts. Every number, every invoice." He leaned in. One by one, his defenses started crumbling. He swallowed hard and said, "But we didn't know." Then almost whispered, "I feel angry now. At all of us." I nodded slowly. "Then maybe it's working." I paused. "You always tell me to think, to be reasonable." So I did. I didn't break anything. I simply took back what was mine. I didn't escalate. I drew a clear line. "If you want to cross back over, you know where to find me." He turned and left. But the backlash came fast. A group message blew up. "We'll gather evidence. We'll hire a lawyer. We'll petition the court." My name was splattered across threats, gossip, accusations. But I stayed calm. I opened that PDF again. Reread my words. My numbers. I let them rage on. At the same time, texts started rolling in. From my mom, "I'm sorry. I didn't know." From my dad, "This is truly painful." From my adult niece, "I love you, uncle." I didn't reply, not yet. I didn't owe them comfort. What I needed was to be seen. Still, the shockwave kept spreading. That night, my lawyer called. They're threatening legal action. Financial harm, emotional damages, breach of trust. I didn't flinch. "Good," I said. "I have the documentation. Every revoked payment. Every notification." He paused, then said, "It's airtight." By then, they were in full panic mode. My name became a topic of whispered pity. To some, I was the villain. To others, the hero. Families split. Alliances tested. They tried one last move, a public post in the family group chat. A photo from my childhood popped up. Caption, "Remember this happy boy? We need him back." Comments flooded in. "He's the sweetest John we love. Please, reconcile. We need Thanksgiving." I closed the app. That night, around 10 p.m., I lit a candle. Sat alone with my thoughts. I saw the pattern break. Felt the quiet relief as boundaries finally landed. I heard my own pulse, stronger, steadier. I didn't hate them. I just turned my focus inward. Revenge wasn't the goal. I wanted clarity. By the time I went to bed, they hadn't cracked. They were busy rewriting their stories. "It's not so clear. We didn't know we were taking. He's misinterpreting." But that didn't matter anymore. Because I wasn't waiting for their version to change. They had their options: mediator, court, gossip, charity campaigns. I had my piece. They screamed hysterically on their side. I quietly documented mine. Stopped protecting their lies. For the first time in a long time, I slept without carrying their silence. This was the moment truth became undeniable, not just for me but for everyone. No anger. No revenge. Just clear facts that shattered their story and reset everything. I scheduled the post for 9 a.m. A simple, neutral webpage. No accusations. No emotional pleas. Just a straightforward timeline of facts. A ledger of payments year by year. Screenshots of parental requests, pay the tax bill, cover my tuition, book the hotel. The Thanksgiving banner photo, unedited. Snippets from their group chat, reacting after I cut their access. We don't understand. We need him back. I called it simply, Family Ledger. At exactly 9, I hit publish. Within minutes, views skyrocketed. Comments poured in. Notifications flooded. My website handled the surge without blinking. That was my cannon shot. The threads exploded again. Some called it shameful. Others said I was right to show it. A few even shared screenshots, the banner, my spreadsheet, in other group chats. Even some old college friends messaged me, "Wow. Didn't know any of this." There was no turning back now. That afternoon, a local family therapist, the one they'd suggested as a mediator, reached out. "I've seen your post," she said. "It's devastating. Not because you're wrong, but because the pattern is undeniable." She asked to meet all of us. I agreed, but only on my terms. Venue? Her office. No paper. Agenda? Listening only. No arguing. The evidence was already public. They showed up that week. My parents. My brother. The therapist. No more than 5 chairs in a circle. She started, "I've read your public ledger. It's thorough." No one interrupted. She turned to them. "John has put numbers to experience. You can't dispute arithmetic." They glanced at each other. I saw hope flicker. Mom's voice cracked. "I didn't realize how much I asked of him." Dad closed his eyes. My brother looked away. I said nothing. I just sat back. My boundary was my presence. The therapist asked, "What do you want now, John?" I spoke clearly. What I wanted wasn't money or apologies. Just recognition. Acknowledgement that I existed beyond being the family's provider. Space to simply be their son and brother. A reset, where the next favor wasn't an expectation but a real ask. I kept my voice calm. No drama. The therapist looked at them and asked, "Can you just listen to him?" Silence. Mom wiped a tear. Dad nodded slowly. My brother exhaled deeply. "We messed up," he said. It wasn't sudden. Not a lightning strike. It was a slow shift. They started asking questions. How did this feel? What about us was invisible? Will you ever forgive us? I answered each honestly. It felt like I was trailing behind you, not walking alongside. You saw a wallet, not a person. Yes, they said, but trust needs to be rebuilt. They didn't break down or yell. They just began to listen. The next day, dinner invitation. My parents sat at the table, just turkey and wine. No banner. No revoked access notifications. But my seat was saved. The banner had been replaced by words. "Welcome home, son." Was it magic? Did it fix everything? But it did something bigger. It proved that boundaries could be bridges. The public exposure worked because it was about truth, not insults. It opened space for honesty instead of fights. Made them reflect instead of defend. Invited reconciliation rather than asking for permission. A week later, Thanksgiving dinner. I sat at the table. No auto payments silently canceled. No suspended accounts in the background. Just choices. They passed the dishes without demands. My brother thanked me. My parents hugged me, without saying, "Thank you." But I saw it in their eyes. That's how balance shifts. Not with yelling. Not with drama. With clarity. Documentation. Published truth. I didn't break them. They faced what had been ignored for too long. And I walked in, not to fix the past, but to build a space where I was truly seen. This was the quiet but seismic moment everything changed. No drama. Just finality. The hero affirms himself. A month later, at exactly 7:03 p.m., I got a text. "Can we talk?" Simple words. No subject. No banner. No pressure. I saw it was my mom's number. I looked at the fireplace, still warm from our last evening together. I thought about my own steady pulse, calm, not anxious. I typed back, sure. When and where? An hour later, she showed up at my porch. Alone. No entourage. No brother. No tears. Just her, fragile but sure. I opened the door. She stood there, unsure. I stepped aside and offered the stoop. The sky was darkening. Cicadas hummed in the background. A quiet night. She sat. We didn't speak. After 10 long beats of silence, she whispered, "This isn't what I wanted." I nodded. "I know." She bit her lip, looked down at her hands. "I missed you." I said softly, "Feel lost?" Then said, "Or go." "I'm here." Tears welled up. Not because she was sorry. Because she realized she had to earn her place again. No shortcuts. She reached out and unclenched the walls she'd built. We sat silent for a moment. Then she said, "I understand. You're still standing." That moment wasn't a victory. It was recognition. I stayed firm. No rushing. No hugs. No, "I forgive you." Just presence. Just boundary. She stood up. "I'll see you tomorrow?" she asked. I paused. "I'll let you know." That was it. She nodded and walked away. Weeks passed with occasional texts. Brief hellos. No banners. No auto payments. No assumed seats. Until one evening she called. "Family dinner." It was just us. I thought. I replied, "I'll be there." Walking into that room felt different. No heat. No storm. Just calm peace. We sat down. I opened my plate. They passed dishes. They didn't say, "Thank you." They said something better. "You're here." Because boundaries don't close doors. They reopen them with respect. In that final pause, I wasn't saying yes to them. I was saying yes to me, my worth, my limits, my space. They didn't get the old me back. They got someone new, stronger, clearer, someone who no longer carried their invisibility. They got a son, not a provider, a human, a brother, not a fixer. I looked at their faces, present, and thought, this isn't about rescuing anyone. It's about returning. And by showing up on my terms, I reclaimed not just my seat, but my identity. Because sometimes the loudest power is in the quietest no, followed by the freedom to say yes again.